When I do this, you see it?
Yeah, true.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our January 14th City Council Successor Agency meeting. We have a quorum. Could we start with a roll call, please?
Councilmember Maloney,
Present.
Councilmember Pearson,
Here.
Councilmember Mendoza,
Here.
Councilmember Orlemans,
Here.
Mayor Meyer.
whoops, here, and if we could join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we will start public comments, and the time for tonight's items will be 5 minutes each.
At this time, the public present in the chamber are permitted to address the city council on items that are not on the agenda, items that are listed under presentations, informal reports, or on the consent calendar, and requests for future agenda items, new requests. Comments for the meeting's detailed agenda items or business items should be made when that item is called. Please limit your remarks to 5 minutes. The microphone will be muted when the timer expires. First speaker is Lillian.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lillian Pierce, and I'm here representing the Brentwood Regional Community Chest. I wanted to thank the City Council, the mayor, all of the city staff, and our wonderful community for all the support they've shown us for all these decades. This year, we served 500 families, including 130 from the Adopt a Senior program through Brentwood Strong. I always comment that we have a wonderful community. People are so generous and so supportive that we've been doing this for 50-something years. And I just wanted to thank everybody. Thank you.
Ray.
Well, Madam Mayor, council members, Chief Herbert, my name is Ray Cole. My wife and family members were having lunch at the yard the day after Thanksgiving, and a large group of bicyclists came into the intersection right out here and blocked traffic. When a few bystanders went out in the intersection to ask them to leave, there was some pushing and shoving, and one older woman fell to the ground, hit her head, and was eventually taken away by an ambulance. Also, early on in the incident, there was a large lifted pickup truck, and obviously the driver was upset by it, so he honked his horn and accelerated very rapidly through the intersection, and luckily no one was hit, but certainly the potential for serious injury or worse existed. Police came, I think 3 cars eventually showed up. 2 of the young men were detained. One was put into cuffs, and after a while, they were all released, and I'm uncertain as to what the final disposition of the case was, if any. In speaking with others later, this group of young people on bicycles are well known in Brentwood. They've been doing this kind of thing for some time, and it is something that has been ongoing for at least 2 years. My request is for the council to form a committee or task the police department to provide options and recommendations to address the problem. I would expect that if a committee is formed, certainly the police department would be part of that committee. Specifically, the direction I would like to see taken would be to, 1, identify what the current set of policies is that governed how this particular incident was handled. I certainly have no criticisms of the police department. They appear to be very professional, very calm in handling it. 2, identify the constraints, whether they be legal, staffing, policy, or other, that contribute to the difficulty in deterring and controlling this kind of behavior. And then 3, develop a list of options for improvement, and 4, provide recommendations as to what can be implemented locally. The issue really isn't just bicycle riding, and it's something that we obviously encourage. It is the willful disruption intimidation and threatening behavior that is the problem. This is serious, it's longstanding, and certainly needs to be addressed. I ask the council to take this kind of action to identify the options and recommendations, and ultimately to deter this kind of activity. And finally, while the scope of this request is very narrow, the solutions developed may well be a model for addressing other local issues such as speeding in downtown, shoplifting, package theft, that kind of thing. Thank you very much.
Ian?
Well, Happy New Year to the council. It's already been a chaotic year, unfortunately, but it's gonna be a great year for good growth here in the city of Brentwood. I want us to start off the year on the right foot. And first off, a few things I want this council, if allowed, or house staff update. First, the seat's empty, but I found out our director of Parks and Rec has moved on to Vacaville, but Vacaville released a press release. The city of Brentwood hasn't. I think the residents should get an update on via press release or something that he has departed from our city and how the city will approach the steps to replace that seat, since the Parks and Rec Department is one of the key assets to this city, since we're a quote unquote bedroom community right now and everyone loves this department. And I personally have worked for the department for a little bit. Second, also, the Sand Creek Road looks beautiful with the lights. I was driving down Highway 4, but we haven't heard an update on that road in a hot minute. I just, want to get an update New Year when it will open. I know delays happen, and that happens, especially in the public sector. Just a little update, like when it's expected to open or what's up, because lights are on, road looks constructed. What's going on, but there's some stuff. As far as it's gonna be a great year. Can't wait for Costco. Can't wait for everything going on here. Some great commercial projects in the works I saw on the website. And Happy New Year to council and staff.
Danny?
Okay, I'm making this as quick as I can. Today I want to start with the ask. A town hall with Brentwood residents on how to avoid being evicted. I didn't know such a meeting needed to be had until last November. I sent to some of you a picture of a wire. This wire was mistaken for an extension cord. This wire was incorrectly installed by AT&T some time ago. It's a telephone wire, not an extension cord. My cousin was not made aware of its existence until November 2024. This wire created an event where my cousin was 1 week away from being evicted from her home of 8 years. A wire that was thought to be an extension cord incorrectly installed by AT&T. Let me repeat the ask. A town hall with Brentwood residents on how to avoid being evicted. The reason my cousin did not know of her impending eviction until November was, 1, the mishandling of citations given by HCD, the lax execution of correcting the citations between the landowner and homeowners, the vague language of the citations. This gave my cousin and I a virtual whack-a-mole approach to solving this problem. When I say landowner, I'm not referring to homeowner. For those who might not have figured it out, I'm referring to mobile home owners. Not the buses you see on the road. I'm referring to homes owned by residents who are part of a mobile home park. I hate HCD. Many of you hate HCD. Many of you have made this known. Unfortunately for the residents, HCD's actions are the law of the land, and as such, impact our neighbors when they decide to do their job. From firsthand experience, I've dealt with HCD landowners and lawyers for the landowner. All pointed fingers at each other saying, there's nothing we can do unless the other does something first. Who was that other? My cousin. What needed to be done? Remove an extension cord. a cord that was not an extension cord, but a wire incorrectly installed by AT&T. You know I'm not joking. Some of you have documentation that I provided that my cousin received from the landowner's lawyer. My cousin and 16 other homeowners were given eviction notices on a variety of rules. Many of these issues existed when they bought their home, and many issues were not pointed out during the sale, which is a whole different conversation. What do these new owners have in common? They're primarily seniors. They're primarily disabled. They primarily live on a limited income. They primarily have language issues and or status concerns. Back to my cousin. An extension cord, which was not an extension cord, was going to get my cousin evicted. It took 7 weeks during the Christmas season, multiple texts, emails to HCD, the landowner, and the lawyers. It finally got someone's attention when I added our newly elected assembly person's name on the email chain to finally get an answer. The answer, our bad, HCD, the landowner, the lawyer, our bad. We thought it was an extension cord. Our bad. My ask, a town hall with residents on how to avoid being evicted. I know, Vice Mayor, you've dealt firsthand with similar experiences, and I know, Madam Mayor, that you think our hands may be tied because it is out of our city's purview. Maybe you're right, but a town hall where residents know their rights, where residents know that they can reach out to landowners and demand what the policies are, and for you to ask questions to these folks. Has the landowner, which is their obligation to execute, inspected these homes and met with the homeowner to find solutions? Has HCD reached out to the landowners already? And does the landowner have a procedure on how to deal with citations? The reason for this, especially that last part, is paramount because HCD does not reach out to the homeowners. They expect the landowners to do their job. I have quite a bit more, but no more time. I am always available for questions, and if you wish to call me back up, I'd love to.
Paul?
Good evening. This is a gravely serious time for government representatives entrusted with our safety and well-being. As the 5 LA fires demonstrate, California representatives in that area are abject failures. Karen Bass, LA mayor, was in Ghana when her city was burning, the fire quickly consuming 62 square miles and growing. When she finally got back, she was ill-prepared to address the public, offering no leadership to her people who were in an existential crisis without precedent, having not one word to say when interviewed at the airport. Newsom was also deflecting all responsibility regarding preparedness, blaming local governments and not the decades of water and land mismanagement. I'm sure he'll find a way to reward his cronies with an unprecedented financial windfall from a rebuilding program valued at over $150 billion. People will become billionaires from this devastation, make no mistake, as was the case with the COVID response and corruption. Newsom and Bass should be immediately recalled in disgrace. They are not leaders. In the UK, a decades-long scandal has come to light involving extremist Pakistani moms who targeted, abducted, and gang raped thousands of white children. Yet the government chooses to deflect and not investigate. Like with the UK example, the outgoing administration has also turned their backs on 350,000 plus children who have been trafficked into America and likely forced into slavery and sexual abuse. This is not leadership. What does all this have to do with Brentwood? As I mentioned in these examples, I mentioned some examples of the colossal failures of government at large. Oakley held an opioid awareness meeting in December. This is always too late and with never enough resources. The flow of fentanyl and related drugs needs to be strangled at the source, which is China and the Mexican drug cartels. The Biden administration did not care about the 250,000 plus Americans who have been murdered by these drugs. The Trump administration under Tom Homan will address this and the illegal migrant issue. Will the City Council cooperate with federal law enforcement in this regard? California is taking measures now to resist that. There is speculation that the LA fires may have been arson. On this scale, that translates to terrorism. An invading army would not be able to level 62 square miles in a matter of days. A few well-placed terrorists acting at the right time could and possibly did. Is Brentwood prepared for this type of asymmetrical warfare, even if it's from psychologically imbalanced people and not from the tens of thousands of insurgents roaming our country? Have we hardened our infrastructure, including cyber and non-cellular communications? Have we held public preparedness meetings similar to the opioid meetings? Please respond to this. But I think the answer at this time is no. Now let's jump to public education of our kids. What happened to the 2023 class of 11th graders? 62% were below the grade level in math and 37% below the grade level in reading. Were they graduated or given intensive remedial education to bring them up to standards, or left behind? Please report on this. Bill AB 1955 instructs that public schools cannot notify parents if their kids identify as transgender or request to use a different name. This is a direct Marxist state control assault on every caring parent who is rightfully and solely responsible for their children. Do you support AB 1955, or will you fight to reject it? Please let us know. Thank you.
Melissa?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Council, and staff. Before I begin on my specific public comment, I would like to make a note that AB 1955 exists because there are some families that are not safe for queer children. And so in the matter of safety, I urge you to support AB 1955 and the safety of our queer children. Thank you. I am here to address a matter of profound importance to our community: the protection of farm workers and their families in light of the mass deportation plans proposed by the incoming presidential administration. Brentwood's rich agricultural heritage is deeply intertwined with the contributions of these individuals. Both migrant and farm worker families have been here for generations, working for some of the biggest name farm owners in our city and county. And their forced removal would have devastating effects not only on our local economy, but also on the nation's food supply. According to the New American Economy Research Fund, immigrants constitute a significant portion of the workforce in Contra Costa County. As of 2019, they make up 25.6% of the total population and represented 32.1% of the employed labor force. While I don't have a specific percentage of immigrants in farm labor within Contra Costa County, it's well documented that they play a crucial role in California's agricultural sector. Statewide, immigrants are indispensable to the farm and nearly 2/3 of its fruits and nuts. The proposed mass deportations threaten to dismantle this workforce, leading to severe labor shortages. Such disruptions would profoundly affect crop production, increase food prices, and reduce the availability of fresh produce nationwide. The ripple effects would be felt across the entire food supply chain from farm to table. Brentwood's identity is rooted in agriculture, as seen with the most recent interpretive panel display unveiling this last week. Our fields have flourished because of the dedication and hard work of our campesinos. To turn our backs on them now would be to undermine the very foundation of our community and compromise the food security of our nation. I urge the City Council to take decisive action to protect these essential members of our society. Consider policies that provide sanctuary and support to immigrant families, collaborate with local organizations to offer legal assistance, and publicly publicly oppose any measures that seek to unjustly target and deport our neighbors. By standing with our campesinos, we not only honor Brentwood's agricultural legacy, but also safeguard the well-being of our community and contribute to the stability of the nation's food supply. Thank you.
I have no additional speaker cards.
Thank you. Moving into informational reports from council members, committees, liaisons, and staff. And we will start to the right with Councilmember Mendoza.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for coming out. Happy New Year. Oh, and that's me. Job is not supposed to be happening right now. Since the last time we met, we had a couple of closed sessions. I attended the sports complex RFP with potential bidders. Hanukkah in the Park, the Davis Camp panel unveiling that they had. Attended a couple of our Neighborhood Voices meetings. Yes, we are still working on a statewide initiative to take back local control. We had the mayor's conference. I attended today, which was very exciting. Board member Chanel Preston's swearing in. It was so exciting to be there, and I think I've never heard a round of applause like that. Everyone was so excited. And it was also interesting to hear the comments from her and from John Goya. You know, they spent $1.2 million so that she would not be elected, and she got elected. And John Goya made it clear that this election, there was a lot of racism out there against candidates, and we all saw it. We saw, again, the dirtiest campaign in Brentwood's history. So I was happy to be there.